Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your roller coaster project that you're going to be working on, just to kind of give you some ideas about timeline and some of the things that you're going to have to do in this project. So first of all, just give you an idea about the timeline you're going to have for this. Today, I'm introducing this project to you, and you're going to get started working on it. We're actually going to have our test this week. Our test is going to be on Thursday and Friday. So tomorrow you're going to get a practice test. We're going to go over that on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday is going to be your actual test. We're going to come back to this project the following week. On Monday and Tuesday, you'll basically have 2 more days to work on this, okay? So don't feel like you're going to get started today. You're not going to get finished. You're going to have a couple more days to work on this. Don't feel like you have to spend all this time in addition to preparing for your test to work on this. You'll have 2 more days next week to work on this and get this up to the level that you want, okay? So that's kind of an idea about what the timeline is going to look like for this project. In terms of what you're going to be asked to do, so hopefully you've had a chance to look at the project to see what the scenario is and the expectations. I just want to walk through some hints and some tricks to kind of get you headed on the right path about what you're doing. You're going to basically be designing a roller coaster. Mainly what you're going to be showing me is from the first drop to what we would call the turnaround section. So it's kind of like a straight, just up and down kind of section of your roller coaster, okay? And the requirements that are being set on your roller coaster is that the first drop has to be between 60 to 122 meters, okay? So you're going to be showing me the first 500 meters. That first drop needs between 60 to 122 meters. If you do not meet that requirement, you will lose points, okay? You must have an underground tunnel section. So there must be a point where your roller coaster goes under the ground and then comes back up. And then your coaster must have a point where it goes to the ground and then ascends immediately. So it touches down and then goes up. I gave you this general blueprint. Basically, you're going to need to have it written in factored form, okay? You do not have to have just 4 factors. You can have more if you'd like to. In order to meet this requirement, just to give you a hint, you're going to need at least 4. But you can have more if you would like in order for that to work. I also will say that you want to try to have your roller coaster make sense physically. When you're looking at your graph, make sure that, for example, you don't have a spot where it goes way higher than your initial drop. That wouldn't really make sense. It would need to be less than that. And just try to keep some realism in mind as you're doing that, all right? Now, I provided a hint to kind of get you an idea of how to get started and what you're trying to do. My hint was that you want to kind of pick these B, C, D, G values, these kind of root values. Pick those first and then try to work backwards from there, okay? So basically, try to set up like, okay, I kind of want my first drop to be this long. I want to have it go underground here. I want it to bounce here. I want to do this and this. And then what you're going to want to do is after you kind of have those things set up, is then kind of figure out what this A value is going to be, that value out front, to make it so that your first drop is how you want it to be, okay? Just to give you a little more of a hint, if you want a little more hint than that, the first drop is going to be basically your y-intercept. So when x equals 0, this is what y should equal. Maybe use that to your advantage to figure out what a would need to be to get that value that you want. Just a hint that's out there, might help you out with what you're doing, okay? Hopefully you saw the breakdown of points here. So basically your roller coaster, you need to have an equation. It needs to meet all the guidelines. I am okay with you leaving the equation in factored form. Just make sure you have that all written out for me, and then it meets all the guidelines. You need to have a presentation that contains the graph of your roller coaster. So you're going to be basically making me a Google slide you're going to share with me, and I need to see that graph. I'll show you in a second what my graph would look like in terms of what you do. Your presentation also needs to have like a creative element to it. Basically, I want you to theme your roller coaster, okay? Give me a name. Give me, I said, a picture. You can either draw a picture if you would like to kind of represent what's going on. So basically, like, draw me kind of like, oh, yeah, look, here's kind of what's going on to show what the graph is showing. You can theme your presentation with pictures of real-life roller coasters to give an idea of what it looks like, maybe give it a color scheme, that sort of stuff. Be as creative as you possibly can to kind of show me your roller coaster. Pretend that you are selling it to me as an amusement park to buy your roller coaster and use it in my park, okay? And then there's points on here for presentation. That's mainly just going to be, again, that your presentation looks nice. We're not going to be verbally presenting these as we normally would, but just that it looks nice and it's accurate, and I can follow through with what you have on there, okay? In fact, what I'm really going to ask for this portion right here is that I want you on one of your slides to describe your process, okay? So basically on that slide, what you need to tell me is, hey, in order to do my roller coaster, I picked for this, this, and this to happen. I plugged in these values. I then went to figure out what my drop height would be, and I did that because of X, Y, and Z. And then I did this with my function to figure out what that A value would be to give me that, and so on and so forth. Okay, and talk about multiplicity, talk about end behavior, all the different things that we've talked about in class, and how you kind of can use those ideas to help you with coming up with your roller coaster design. Okay. In terms of a graph that I want in your presentation, in addition to your drawing you're going to do, that's more of like an artistic render of your graph, I want you to also include a Desmos graph, okay? So I hid my equation, so no cheating, you can't steal my equation, okay? But here's an example of a Desmos graph of a roller coaster, of what I would be looking for as part of your presentation. So you can see I have a drop height that's around 100 meters. That fits within my requirement. My roller coaster goes down, it touches here, goes up, goes down into a tunnel, and then comes out of the tunnel and up and away. Okay, so I'm meeting all the requirements. My roller coaster is fairly realistic. I have my drop height. This height here is not way higher than my drop height. I have a tunnel that I'm looking for, goes under the ground, and so on and so forth, okay? Maybe I would give this a name, I would have a drawing of it, whatever, okay? So that would be all part of my presentation, okay? So hopefully that cleared everything up. If you still have any questions or anything that you want to go over in terms of what this presentation is going to look like, please make sure that you come to my Zoom session. We will have a Zoom session today at 1:50. You can come and ask me questions there. Also, if you have questions about your upcoming test, you can ask me those as well. Or feel free to send me an email. I'll make sure that I'll answer. You'll have today, I'll have a Zoom session on this Monday. And then additionally, next week on Monday and Tuesday, you're going to have time to work on this. Monday, we'll have another Zoom session. So you kind of have multiple opportunities to reach out to me, make sure we're on the same page. Make sure that you have a good idea about what you need to do to get this project done, okay? Thank you all for watching, and happy designing roller coasters.